Uh, yes. Today's whole discussion will be exclusively on um, Section 7 of CGST Act and SGST Act. This section will discuss about meaning and scope of supply. As far as meaning and scope of supply under GST will be the prime focus for today's discussion. Hope my voice is audible. And again, as I earlier requested, I have few numbers which are all present here. I request those numbers to change their name. You can select your the left-hand side participants, below participants. You can select. You will see your icon. You can go select that and change your name facilities. You can rename yourself. The given name can be mentioned here for better clarity and understanding purposes. Followed by getting into section 7. Section 7 discuss about the scope of supply. Supply under GST is a crucial term, a very, very important term. Now, what is supply? When we go back to that question, supply can be broadly classified into these 4 buckets. Let me repeat. Supply means it has to come and fall only in these 4 buckets. It cannot fall under any other mode. It has to come only in these 4 buckets where supply generally, supply in terms of general situation. In section 7, one of the subsection discuss about supply in general. Similarly, supply in case of import of services. What will happen in case of import of services? Again, it is handled in terms of supply, followed by certain activities done even without consideration. Kindly make a point here. Certain activities that are done even without consideration. A very most crucial point is that certain transactions are deemed by government as supply, where you do it even without consideration. If an activity done even without consideration, yes, it is termed as supply. Followed by in case of activities and transactions relating to one activities which are neither treated as supply of goods nor treated as supply of services, very popularly called as no supply in the layman's language. Apart from this, we have one more schedule which discuss about whether a particular transaction is a supply of goods or it is a supply of services. If someone is aware of all these 5 aspects, let me repeat: general term supply, import of service, followed by activities done even without consideration. 4th, all those activities which are neither supply of goods nor supply of services. 5, where government themselves treats certain activities as either a supply of goods or a supply of services. That in-houses the complete discussion of a term called as supply. And in the concept of supply or in scope of supply, we will discuss all this individually. The first 2 parts of it will be discussed by me today, more specifically in terms of the general term supply and import of services. Schedule 1, Schedule 2, Schedule 3 will be handled by Shankar, who will join another 20 minutes from now. Coming back here, getting into the general term supply. Now, generally, supply means what? There is a request come to mute it. Now, see again, this is one challenge. If you want to mute it, because for all the others, every video will come. Otherwise, I would recommend you can select and pin your video. Let me repeat, you can select the speaker's view and pin the video, or you can say, you can identify and pin the video. That is again a recommendation that can be done at your end, instead of if you don't want to view others. In any case, these are all some administrative difficulties that will be part and parcel of it. Coming back here, as part of section 7.1a. Section 7.1a comes out and defines the term supply. Generally, the term supply is defined. The term supply in itself in-houses 5 important elements. So when I would say there is a supply, let me repeat, supply is what it is fundamental. If there is a supply, then only there can be a levy of GST. So if there is no supply, if you fight out, then there is no GST. As simple as that. If there is a supply, then only there is a possibility of GST. If the moment you say there is no supply, then there is no GST at all. So that is the crucial importance of it. And very interesting to note, section 7(1)(a) comes out and discuss. Section 7(1)(a) comes out and discuss the term supply generally. Supply is defined as a inclusive definition. When we go back to section 7(1)(a), supply includes all forms of supply. Let me repeat. Supply includes all forms of supply, which are sale, barter, exchange, lease, license, rental. No doubt, supply includes all forms of supply of goods or services or both. In the last class discussion itself, we made a clear discussion. In our last class, we made a clear discussion that in our last class we made a clear discussion when it comes to goods. No doubt, yes, it is a supply of when it comes to goods, it should be movable in nature. When it comes to services, no doubt it has to be your anything other than goods. Now, apart from these goods and services, it should take a form of supply, which can be a sale, which can be a barter, which can be an exchange, which can be a lease, license, rental. So all these forms of supply, made or agreed to be made, it is already done or it is going to be done, made or agreed to be made for a consideration by a person in the course or furtherance of business. So all forms of supply made or agreed to be made by a person for a consideration in the course or furtherance of business. So there should be a form of supply. That form of supply may be of sale, barter, exchange, lease, license, rental, anything. We'll get into all these words sometime later. There should be a form of supply. First is that. First prima facie requirement, there should be either goods or there should be a services or there should be a form of supply. That form of supply may be transfer. That form of supply may be a sale. That form of supply may be a barter form of supply. It should be made or agreed to be made, which means it is already done or about to be done. Third, it should be agreed for a consideration by a person in the course or furtherance of business. For some differential understanding, I will put it in this way. All forms of supply made or agreed to be made by a person for a consideration in the course or furtherance of business. If these 5 elements, let me repeat, if these 5 elements are present in a transaction, then yes, you will call it as supply. Now, being a chartered accountant, I am going to engage in chartered accountancy services. So now when I being a chartered accountant, I'm going to engage in chartered accountancy services. There is a form of supply and I am going to provide some services to my client. I have agreed to provide some services to my client. Yes, made or agreed to be made. I am a person, either I can do it in my individual capacity or under the capacity of a partnership firm. I do as a partner, as a person I do. No doubt I'm going to fix a remuneration for it and I'm going to collect that remuneration. Yes, there is a consideration. And what I do is in the course or furtherance of business. If I get all 5 ticks, let me repeat, all these conditions are and conditions, which means everything has to be satisfied. There should be a form of supply. It should be made or agreed to be made by a person for a consideration in the course or furtherance of business. If all these 5 ingredients are present, no doubt it would be treated as a, no doubt it would be straight away, treated as a supply. Let's take up some examples. Here, before we move forward, I am sure all of us are aware of the word goods and services. Something which is movable is goods, 252. Similarly, services, anything other than goods, money and securities is treated as services. So anything other than goods is going to be services. 102 defines that term. Sale, I'm sure all of you sitting here are aware of the term called as sale, where there is a transfer of ownership, possession, control, and all this is done for adequate and valid consideration from the other end. It is called as a sale. Transfer, it could be a movement of goods from one person to another. Maybe ownership is not transferred, maybe possession is also not transferred. I would rather say, instead of possession, ownership is also not transferred, control is also not transferred. Possession alone is transferred. That is on right to use basis, I may give you some goods. Again, there could be a concept of lease, license, and rental. Often people will break the head between license and lease. Lease and rentals. I'll come to licenses sometime later. Lease and rentals, very simple. The difference, the biggest difference between rental and lease. In the wall, if you have a right to plug a nail in the wall in a rented house, if you have a right to plug a nail, then it is a leased house. If you don't have a right to plug a nail, then it is called as a rented house. As simple as that. The control, let me repeat, the control, this is a higher end discussion. Control, the control on that goods, the control on that services, that decides certain transactions. But any case, coming back here, getting into two aspects. A lot of us are sitting here virtually. Now my question to a lot of you is very simple. I have an old mobile phone. I give my old mobile phone and get another new mobile phone. Let me repeat it. I get an old mobile phone and is my voice is breaking? Can you text and confirm? For me, it is comfortable and internet bandwidth is also correct. Vishal confirms no. Okay. 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 Satishan says it is okay. Voice is okay. Amit Kiran says confirmation. Good. Okay. It's clear. Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now coming back here. In case of the discussions relating to, I have a mobile phone, old mobile phone. I go to the showroom, give my mobile phone and purchase another mobile phone. Okay. Now, of course, my old mobile phone is considered for a price and I get a new mobile phone. Now, my only submission here is very simple. When I give my mobile phone and get a new mobile phone, let me repeat, when I give my mobile phone and get a new mobile phone, the new mobile phone cost is 20,000 rupees. However, he said for the old mobile phone, we will give a exchange value of 4,000 rupees. Here, in this transaction, what am I doing? I'm doing an exchange transaction. There is a small difference between exchange and barter. In an exchange transaction, it is goods against that goods. It is service against that service. But when it comes to barter, it is goods against service or service against goods. This is the only difference. These differences are not under the GST law. These differences comes from general law, commercial understanding, and dictionary meaning. My only submission here is, if in case I give a car and purchase a new car, then that activity is exchange. If I give a two-wheeler and get a four-wheeler, then it is barter. In an exchange, definitely additionally money will be involved. In a barter, money will not be involved. These are all some small fundamental difference on understanding these topics. Coming back here, in case of generally the term supply, there is going to be a form of supply made or agreed to be made by a person for a consideration. Now, having said consideration, we have defined the term 231, which discussed about consideration. Consideration can be in relation to any supply of goods or services, is any payment made or to be made. I'm sure a lot of you would be conversant with a word called as money paid or payable. Any payment made or any payment made or to be made. So any payment made or to be made, both are treated as payment or consideration, whether in money or otherwise. Let me repeat. Whether in money or otherwise, in respect of, in response to, or for the inducement of the supply of goods or services, or both, whether by the recipient or by any other person. I only want humbly all of you to accept this. If I get some kind of quid pro quo, then it is called as consideration. Words like adequate consideration, words like equal consideration, all these are all not present. As long as there is a consideration, yes, it would be treated as a supply. As long as there is a consideration, it would be treated as a supply. It is done by a person for a consideration in the course or furtherance of business. Again, because it was discussed in the last session's fag end, I don't want to miss an important definition. 2 subsection 17 is a very important definition which defines the term business. Business is being defined where any trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, vocation, adventure, wager. Let me repeat it. For all these words, go for a dictionary meaning or any other specific act meaning, or all those definitions of various terms that are earlier defined by the Supreme Court. Now, when we go back to those definitions, business includes any trade. Business includes any trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, adventure, wager, or any other similar activity, whether it is not for a pecuniary benefit or otherwise. Followed by, it does not stops there. Any activity or transaction in connection with or incidental or ancillary to this activity. Any activity in connection with or incidental or ancillary, or any activity or transaction in the nature of a business, commerce, manufacture, vocation, profession, wager, whether or not there is volume, whether or not there is frequency, whether or not there is continuity, whether or not there is regularity, then very simple, then those transactions would be treated as, or whether irrespective of volume, frequency, everything, those all transactions would be treated as business. This business definition is little more wide. We'll revisit this definition beyond this level after some more discussion. Coming back here, at this moment, all I want to highlight to you is one of you here has an interest for photography, and you have been so passionate about photography. Because you're all so passionate about photography, what happens here is now you already have a DSLR camera of, let's say, Sony. You want to upgrade your camera. You're not inclined and interested to have 2 cameras. So you somehow identified a used camera in Canon. So what you did is, you are now selling your DSLR camera. You are now selling your DSLR camera. Let me repeat. You are now selling your DSLR camera to whom? Is somebody out there in the OLX. In OLX, you as an individual, you are not a photographer, you are not a freelancer photographer, nothing. For a passion, you are been doing this activity of photography. So because your passion is on photography, you take photos of different people, this, that, and all. I'm not commenting anything. You want to upgrade it. The new DSLR Canon camera cost 60,000 rupees. You have 20,000 in your hand, and your old Sony can be sold for 40,000 rupees. You sold it in OLX. My only simple question to all of you virtually sitting there is it supply? You logged into OLX, posted an ad saying that DSLR camera rarely used, 40,000 only, non-negotiable, interested people call. Few of the people have called. Now the question before you is supply, not a supply. Is there is a sale? Yes, you are selling to a third person. Is there is a sale made? Yes. Are you receiving consideration? Yes, my dear, you are getting back 40,000 rupees. Are you a person? Yes, you are an individual, you are a person. But what is lacking in the course or furtherance of business? You don't have a business intention. You don't have a intention, business intention. So, very important note, among that 5 elements, 4 elements is present, but this one element is not present. So, it is a supply or not a supply. Let me repeat. It is supply or not a supply. Our answer would be the sale of camera by an individual who use it as an individual asset is not a supply. Being a chartered accountant and into chartered accountancy practice, I use my car both for official purpose and personal purpose. 70% of the time my car is used for official purpose. As my car is predominantly used for official purpose, I claim depreciation. I'm sure a lot of you will be aware. Under Income Tax Act, under section 32 of Income Tax Act, I claim depreciation on the capital asset under the head profit and gains from business or profession. Now, because I've been used this car for a period of more than 6 years, and it is ideal to change any car after a period of 6 years because of the technology evolution that happens in the motor vehicle segment, I thought to exchange this car and get a new car. Went to the showroom. He told, your car, we will take it up for 2 lakhs. And in turn, the new car cost is 8 lakhs. So you pay the difference of 6 lakhs. So I thought it is good and proper. If I sell it now at 2 lakhs, it will stop at this level. Otherwise, unnecessary services, maintenance, all would come up. Now my question before all of you is, I have exchanged my old car with a new car. My question is not on new car. No, my question is not on new car. Whether for that Maruti Suzuki showroom, is it a supply or not? The question is from myself. When I exchange my old car, for me, it is a supply or it is not a supply. The question is to you. Your chat box are always near to you. I only want you to say supply or not a supply. That's all. My answer is only going to be supply or not a supply. So is it supply or not a supply? So I have answers stepping in. For example, Siva Prakasham VCM sir says not a supply, followed by Sirkar says not a supply. Krishna Ramasamy says not a supply. Vinayagam sir says not a supply. Be mindful. I was very clear in my example. I am using my car. 70% of the time it is used for professional purpose. I claim depreciation under section 32. These are all additional points. With all these points, for example, C.S. Subramaniam sir says, yes, it is a supply. Purnima Rajkamal says, yes, it is a supply. Karthik says, yes, it is a supply. Now, just I want you to remind all of us, yes, it is a supply. Now, why it is not a supply, I'm not agreeable is, check here, there is an exchange by me, it is made by me. Again, it is done for a consideration. Very interesting note. I get 2 lakhs. The 2 lakhs is not paid to me. It is getting adjusted in my new car. Again, by a person, I exchange the car, and this car is used by me in the course or furtherance of business. Because my car is used in the course or furtherance of business. No, so no, sir, your business is, your profession is chartered accountancy. No. Is it ancillary to my business? Come back to the business definition. If you say, is it ancillary to your business? Yes, it is leviable to tax. The point that need to be noted down over here is, the moment something is ancillary to business, no doubt, yes, it would be liable to tax and it will be liable to GST. So point that I want to drive home at this moment is, no doubt, yes, the transaction of sale of car by me would be treated as a supply. As a matter of fact, for certain small charitable organizations, it is the position taken by our firm that we would not charge. If it is a real charitable organization and it is a small charitable organization, we would not charge them. We will do those services without payment of, without collecting any consideration. But Siva Prakasham sir, I am not getting into further questions of as his turnover is not more than 20 lakhs. Sorry. If you're going to raise questions like that, then I would put out that a person is selling a Benz car, exchanging a Benz car, value is 24 lakhs. Okay. So I am not stepping into that issue. Okay. That issue will be still remained open. Okay. Now coming back here, point is, no, sir, 30% is for personal purpose. Will GST be levied on this? See, this is an example. Don't break your head too much on example. At a later point in time, we will come out and say some other logic for it. Okay. If you don't like a car, if you want it, I'll go many other examples. But cars are all examples which can easily identify, is it a personal purpose or it is a business purpose. As long as it is used for business, yes, it has to be treated as business. And there is no question of 70-30 and all. Maybe that proportion would work out from another tax law perspective. This tax law won't encourage all that proportions. Coming back here, getting into our further discussion, maybe this discussion is little more relevant. A daughter-in-law was inherited a lot of jewel of mother-in-law, a lot of jewel, more than, let's say, 100 sovereigns of jewel, a lot of jewel. Already this girl has enough jewelry. As part of their ancestral methodology, the daughter-in-law was blessed with 100 sovereigns of jewelry. Now, for some reasons, don't ask me why and all, the daughter-in-law is not interested to hold that jewelry because sometimes it is heavy, sometimes the designs are outdated, sometimes they have to be polished, or the links are weak so that if they wear it gets broken. So what this daughter-in-law did is, took the jewelry, went to Kalyan Jewelers and gave that 100 sovereigns of old jewelry and bought new jewelry, new updated one, new style one, this, that floor, this floor, Aishwaryam floor or some floor of Kalyan Jewelers she bought. Now our question is, supply, not a supply. Jewelry exchanged by a daughter-in-law. Supply, not a supply. Not a supply. Why not a supply? Very simple. Not in the course of furtherance of business. I am sure all of us will agree that in the course or furtherance of business or not in the course of furtherance of business is taking a very, very, very important point in the generic term or generally understanding the term supply. So this about our general discussions of the term supply. Here, points to be highlighted, there has to be a consideration. I think I have highlighted this point, but nevertheless, I will highlight it once again. Let us take a situation where in case if it is going to be, in case if it is going to be a person, where this person is going to pay some fine, pay some penalty for something. Will it be treated as a supply? I think I have already discussed somebody who violates the traffic rule, somebody pays some penalty, somebody pays some late fee. All this is consideration. Answer is no, these are all not consideration. As long as there is a consideration, yes, there would be a supply if it is done in the course or furtherance of business by a person. Moving forward, very interesting to note, apart from this, any assets that is acquired or any asset is sold at the time of opening the business or closing the business is termed as business. Again, any activity by club, association or race club, any person admitted into any premises, or it is going to be any licenses that are given by the government, or where certain transactions government by themselves act as a public authority, all will be treated as businesses. All this will be treated as business. And coming forward towards the next category of activities in case of import of services. Moving from the general entry, getting into 7.1b, which talks about in case of 7.1b, import of services. First, let's all understand what is import of service. Supplier of a service is outside India. Recipient of a service is in India. Place of supply is India. For the time being, a few of you appreciate that word as it is. Maybe 4 or 5 classes later, we all will understand what is place of supply. Maybe tomorrow's class you will understand, but a better clarity will come 3 classes later. But for the time being, understand place of supply is an element for determination. Supplier outside India, recipient in India, place of supply in India, then it will be called as import of service. Import of service for a consideration by a person for business, not for business, is treated as supply. Look at that whiteness. For business or not for business. For example, are we importing services? Let's get into the basic question. As an individual, you think yourself as an individual. As an individual, are we importing services? When we get into that question, you will get an answer. Yes, we are importing services. A lot of services we import. For example, for some of us who are all using mail IDs for the last 10 years, 12 years in Gmail, by now our Gmail free space would have got expired. So what we do, we pay 100 rupee and then 130 rupee and enhances to get 100 GB. Or we subscribe to various, I would say, movie streams or all your models. Consciously, I'm not picking up Prime Video, Netflix, all this, because today's their model is they have offices in India and they do everything from Indian office also. So consciously, I'm not picking up certain example. In case otherwise, take up examples like Cisco or Cisco WebEx or Zoom for that matter. A clear activity of supplier outside India, recipient in India, place of supply is also India. It is treated as an import of service. No doubt now this license is being purchased by a vendor for using it in a business purpose. You are going to purchase a Zoom license for a personal purpose. You want to have a meeting with people of your relatives around the whole world. For that you purchase. You don't want your meeting to get stopped by 40 minutes. So you purchase one online version for a personal purpose. Be that as it may, then no doubt it would be treated as a import of service. The one coined difference between general supply and import of services. In general supply, it should be for the furtherance of business. In import of service, it can be for business or it need not be for business. Maybe with this example, my time is also up. and my friend is also in, I would say this example and take a leave over here at this moment. That point is, I'm not sure how many of you all virtually sitting here are fond of a game by name called as GTA. Okay. I know, sir, GTA, Goods Transport Agency. Grand Theft Auto. A beautiful game. For me, if GTA is loaded into my PS4, the first woman in my family who will get angry is my wife, because next 3 days I would not come out of the room. So much I'm obsessed with that game. The point here is, I'm not sure how many of you all played that game. If you start playing that game, the game will eat you. And the best part of that game is, if you start moving ahead with the direction at which the game says, it will not be interesting. You should exactly go to the opposite of what the game says. Your crime rate should go more and more. My intention of discussing all this is very simple. If we play a game like this and we want the full version of it, we give a credit card number and download the full version into our PC or into our Xbox or whatever playing system. Are we importing services? If a GTA game, Grand Theft Auto game, is downloaded by a person who is going to play for himself after paying $8 for the full version, is it a import of service? Is it a supply? The answer would be, ready for your answers. A very simple. Sanjay Srinivas, check your answer. Sanjay Srinivas, check your answer. Anushka, check your answer. It would be treated as an import. When it comes to import of services, it can be for business, it can be even not for business. Supplier in foreign country, recipient in India. When you know at a later stage, place of supply is also India, no doubt, it would be treated as a import of service. At this juncture, I would hand over today's presentation back to Shankar Narayanan, who is already here. Just 1 minute.